The Internet Intelligence Network, IIN. It is a new piece of AI infrastructure that, if it ships the way Dominic Williams described it, lets you cryptographically prove what an AI model actually did on your query. Which model ran, what it received, what it returned, whether your data was logged, whether your output was filtered, all of it, mathematically verifiable by anyone at the moment of the call. Think of it as a cryptographic receipt, a proof you could hand to a regulator, an auditor, a court, or an investigator, showing exactly what happened inside the black box when you called an AI. A hospital could show a regulator exactly what its diagnostic AI recommended and on what data. A bank could audit every single trading recommendation an AI ever made. A lawyer could prove a case citation was real. A government could verify its own AI hasn't been quietly manipulated by the company that built it. IIN was announced on April 2, 2026, by Dominic Williams, the founder of the Internet Computer, in a single post on X. Community-operated hardware, verifiable inference in 2 configurable modes, open-weight models, priced below decentralized clouds, powered by, quote, new technology we are developing. And if it ships the way he described it, it is the most consequential piece of AI infrastructure announced this year, by a wide margin. But almost nobody read it. No white paper followed, no NNS proposal, no follow-up post, no coverage, 0 YouTube videos, 0 Substack deep dives, 0 technical breakdowns, as if the most ambitious AI announcement of the year had simply evaporated. Which is strange for 2 reasons. First, the architecture Dom described lines up almost perfectly with a technical breakthrough that shipped 7 months ago, and almost nobody has publicly connected it to IIN yet. Second, the competitive window for this exact idea is closing fast, and Dom knows it. This is the story of what is actually being built, and why almost nobody noticed. But before getting into how IIN actually works, first here's why cryptographic proof of AI execution is suddenly the most valuable thing anyone could build in this industry. Because every single time you use AI today, you are playing a game you cannot see. You send a prompt, you get a response, and between those 2 things, 0 visibility. There is no way to prove which model ran, no way to prove your input wasn't modified, no way to prove your output wasn't filtered, no way to even prove you got the same quality as the customer next to you. Stanford researchers watched GPT-4's prime number identification accuracy silently crater from 97% to 2% between versions, with no changelog, no warning, no acknowledgement. Google got caught injecting hidden diversity prompts into user inputs in the middle of historic questions. Meta's internal AI agent leaked sensitive company data to employees who shouldn't have had access, and it ran for 2 hours before anyone caught it. And in March 2026, a $10 billion AI recruiting startup called Mercor had 4 terabytes of customer data and source code exfiltrated through a compromise of 1 open source library buried in their AI toolchain. Stanford counted it in their 2026 AI Index report. 362 documented AI incidents in 2025 alone, up 55% from the year before. Capability numbers at historic highs, trust numbers, crisis. Those are Stanford's words, and in April 2026, a group of alignment researchers tested 12 of the best open-weight reasoning models, the thinking style models everyone is supposed to trust more. And here's what they found. The models commit to their final answer at the very start of the reasoning chain. Everything after that point is performance. The thinking you see on your screen is theater. Faithfulness rates as low as 28%. The models are lying to you about what they are doing. And nobody, not OpenAI, not Anthropic, not Google, not the regulators, has a way to catch them. That is the problem. And for 2 years, crypto has been claiming it has the answer. You have probably heard the name, Bittensor. For 2 years, it has been the biggest decentralized AI project in the world. $3.3 billion of market cap, 128 subnets, miners running AI services, validators scoring them, token rewards flowing to the winners. Every crypto podcast called it the one that works. Here's what they don't advertise. The Bittensor blockchain is only a ledger. It doesn't run AI. Not a single token of inference happens on-chain. All of the actual computation happens off-chain, on miners' own private hardware. The chain knows absolutely nothing about whether real work was performed. It only knows what validators said about it. Which means miners have been caught, repeatedly and verifiably, quietly proxying user prompts to OpenAI's API, reselling the responses as their own work, and collecting the token rewards. The protocol cannot tell. The validators cannot tell. This is not a bug they are fixing. This is the architecture. And the economics only work as long as new money keeps arriving. As of April 2026, Bittensor pays out roughly $74 million a month in token rewards and generates about $21 million a month in actual revenue from paying customers, a 3.4 to 1 subsidy ratio at the network level. The whole system runs on one assumption, that the TAO token price goes up forever. On April 11, 2026, the crack finally appeared in public. Sam Dare, the CEO of Covenant AI, the operator of 3 of Bittensor's top-performing subnets, publicly walked out. His specific word for Bittensor in his own quote, "Centralized control with decentralized branding. Decentralization theater." From an insider. Running 3 of the biggest subnets on the network. Dare dumped 37,000 TAO on his way out. The token crashed 20% in 12 hours. $900 million in market cap, gone in a morning. The subnets he operated cratered 60% each. And here's the part that should tell you everything. Not a single competing project publicly defended the premise. Not Akash, not Ritual, not Gensen, because none of them have anything shipping either. The biggest decentralized AI story of 2026 is a funeral, and nobody in crypto wants to show up. And here's the twist nobody in crypto wants to admit out loud. While decentralized AI was publicly imploding, the real competition for verifiable inference quietly arrived from the exact companies everybody assumed would never care. Microsoft Azure is in public preview right now with a product called confidential inferencing. Your prompt is encrypted end-to-end. It is only decrypted inside a hardware enclave on an NVIDIA GPU. Not even Microsoft can read what is happening inside the enclave. The hardware cryptographically attests what it ran, and you can buy it with a corporate credit card today. NVIDIA announced the Vera Rubin platform at GTC in March 2026, rack-scale confidential computing across 72 GPUs, and their previous offering, the H100 confidential computing stack, just went generally available with under 5% overhead on real production LLM workloads. The old objection, TEs are too slow for real AI, is dead, buried, gone. A crypto-native project called Phala Network is already running over 1 billion LLM tokens a day through this exact NVIDIA confidential computing stack on OpenRouter. Good enough? Buy it off the shelf. Hardware-verified AI inference is already here. That is the clock IIN is actually racing against, which means if crypto is going to solve the trust layer, it needs something Microsoft cannot buy from NVIDIA tomorrow. Which brings the story back to Dom's tweet, the IIN announcement that opened all of this. And the specific architectural claim Dom made that, if it is real, is the part nobody else has built. Dom said verification has 2 modes. You choose one per query at runtime. In default mode, your inference runs inside a hardware enclave on an attested GPU. Dom's exact phrase, no discernible difference in cost or performance. For anything that isn't mission critical, voice assistants, chat, creative work, it is effectively free, and it is more verifiable than anything centralized AI offers today. In high security mode, the same inference runs on multiple independent nodes at the same time. Each node produces a bitwise identical output. If they don't match, the network votes. The cost scales linearly with how many nodes you want checking the work. For the moments you need to absolutely prove something, a medical diagnosis, a trading signal, a legal citation, a sovereign government query, you pay more and you get certainty. Choose your level of paranoia, priced per query. That is the architectural insight that almost nobody in this industry has reached for. Not one answer to verification, a dial. Here is where the entire story should fall apart. Because what Dom just described, multiple independent GPUs producing bitwise identical LLM output, should not, according to every expert in machine learning, be possible. Run the same prompt on the same exact GPU twice, and the tokens can come back different. Run it on 2 different GPUs, they definitely will. Consensus requires agreement requires determinism, and the entire machine learning field has treated LLM inference determinism as unsolvable. Until very recently that was true. But then this surfaced. In September 2025, a machine learning lab called Thinking Machines published a paper that almost nobody in the crypto world has read. And the claim in the title is not marketing. It is literal. They defeated non-determinism in LLM inference. The key finding was this. The reason LLM outputs drift, the reason you can't reproduce them, was never, as everyone had assumed, a floating point concurrency problem. It was the way GPUs combine numbers across different batch sizes. The Thinking Machines team rewrote the kernels, drop in replacements for the core math operations inside every modern transformer. The result? 100% bitwise identical outputs across 1,000 consecutive runs, on any GPU, at any batch size, on any worker anywhere. And here's the part that tells you the field saw what it meant. 12 days after the paper dropped, the SGLang inference framework, one of the most widely used open source inference servers in production, shipped it. Not as a research prototype. Bitwise deterministic LLM inference went from unsolvable research problem to shipping in production in under 2 weeks. And that is the whole trick. The default mode is NVIDIA Confidential Computing, shipping at 1 billion tokens a day on Fala. The high security mode is the Thinking Machines deterministic kernel work, shipping in SGLang since September. Nobody has combined these two things on a decentralized network. Nobody has bound hardware attestations into blockchain consensus at the query level. That is the new technology we are developing in Dom's tweet. That is the part that has never been built anywhere. And that is why, if Definity actually ships it, this rewrites what it means to trust an AI model. And in the first quarter of 2026, something bizarre happened. The same companies that spent 2 years mocking decentralized AI started selling sovereign AI themselves. Pakistan signed a formal agreement with Definity for a dedicated subnet running national government services. Switzerland already launched one at Davos. SAP and Cohere rolled out sovereign AI in Canada. Mozilla partnered with the Mila AI Institute in Quebec. And in March 2026, OpenAI, the most centralized AI company on Earth, announced a 31,000 GPU build in the United Kingdom, explicitly pitched for national security and regulated industries. OpenAI is now selling sovereign AI, which means OpenAI just publicly validated the exact thesis the Internet Computer has been pitching for 2 years, while the window to actually build the verification layer closes around them. Before drawing any conclusions about any of this, there is another side to this story, and it deserves a fair hearing. What is not yet known. As of the time of this recording, the Internet Intelligence Network does not actually exist. There is no white paper. There is no NNS proposal. There is one tweet from April 2nd, and Definity has not said another word about IIN since. The hardware is unspecified. The node economics are unspecified. Community operated could mean anything from $30 DPIN hotspots to $30,000 rack-mounted H100 servers. None of those questions have been answered yet. But here's what is known. The technical pieces that would make IIN possible, all of them, became real in the last 7 months. Bitwise deterministic GPU inference is shipping, hardware-attested confidential computing is generally available, the market demand is overwhelming and documented. Stanford confirmed it in their 2026 AI Index. The nearest competitors are imploding. Bittensor is in visible crisis. Ritual is pre-mainnet. Gensen is pre-mainnet. The window is open. It is not going to stay open long. The biggest unsolved problem in AI is not capability, it is verification. And the biggest infrastructure opportunity of the next decade is not building better models. It is building the layer that lets the rest of the world actually deploy them without blind faith. That is what Dom was announcing in his tweet, and that is why it matters genuinely that almost nobody read it. So here's the question to sit with. Would you rather run your AI on a network where every single inference is cryptographically verifiable by anyone, or on a company you can sue if something goes wrong? There is no right answer, but the trillion-dollar bet is that within the next 18 months, the answer stops being obvious, and when it does, only one architecture is actually ready. Watch the NNS for the IIN proposal. The day it drops, this story rewrites itself. Subscribe to be there when it does. Drop a thought in the comments, and share this with one person who works in AI, because right now, only a handful of people on Earth have heard this story.